Welcome to this AI Ethics Importance and Breakthrough course. My name is Jose Meza, and I appreciate AEQUITAS of Unbiased AI, funded by the European Union, for providing this course. Now, let's see what are going to be the topics. We're going to talk about some ethics definitions, some AI breakthroughs, laws and regulations, generative AI, and final thoughts. Let's start with AI ethics definitions. Why? Because for everyone, AI is one particular thing, ethics is one particular thing. So we need to have some common ground in order to explore these concepts. So what is AI? There are many concepts about AI. For some persons, it's a section of machine learning. For some persons, no, machine learning is a part. For some persons, AI is a part of machine learning, and vice versa. It depends. I have just put here three concepts. AI is an autonomous machine or software that replaces a specific function or task of the human brain. The ability of a computer or a machine to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence, and the development of algorithms and systems that enable machines to learn from experience. Now that we have seen this concept, what is ethics? Well, depending on who you are, once again, and this is why these concepts are always discussed, because for some persons, or for some cultures, or for some business, this may change. Okay, so in a human context, ethics will be a reflective tool that enables reflection and determination of one's action, right or wrong, given the context. And please see what I say here, given the context. I won't say what is right or what is wrong, but in a particular context, for a particular culture, in a particular time, one action could be right? And the same action in a different context would be wrong. And from the technological context, ethics is a decision-making tool. Once again, see that it's a decision-making tool. So ethics is a tool that helps us make decisions to mitigate risk and innovate in accordance with the use case and or technology. Why is it important? Because most AI, the outcome are decisions. So if we say ethics is a decision-making tool, well, that is great. Now, what is not ethics? Ethics is not a feeling. Ethics is, oh, I'm going to do this because I feel like this. Ethics is not a religion. Ethics is not following the law. We can follow the law and not be ethical. We'll see that one example. Ethics is not following culturally accepted norms. I could be in a particular country doing particular things and not be ethical. For example, some countries allow the death penalty. Is that ethical? I'm not saying if that is right or wrong. I'm just saying, is that ethical? I'll leave that to your thoughts. Now, let's merge both concepts, AI and ethics. What is AI ethics? AI ethics is a discipline or field concerned with understanding and managing how AI impacts people, society, and the environment. Now, let's see. There are two concepts that are used similarly, which are AI ethics and responsible AI. So, what is responsible AI? Responsible AI is AI that is developed and deployed in ways that minimize the risk it poses to people, society, and the environment. So, and once again, depending on who you are, depending on the course you are reading, maybe in LinkedIn Learning, it's a different course. But here, for example, we have said that AI ethics is a discipline or field, and responsible AI is basically the outcome. So if you use AI ethics to develop one particular tool, understanding and managing how AI may impact the people, society, and the environment, well, you will minimize the risk it poses to people, society, and environment, and the outcome will be responsible AI. Let's see some examples, or maybe not, of responsible AI, good technology. If it a social media network designed to capitalize on our insecurities and trifle content full of hate and anger, if it a health app that tracks every single one of our movement, whether we know it or not, only to take that information and sell it to insurance companies, is it a credit scoring algorithm? Is it an HR hiring software that despite our best efforts can tell your gender based off the adjective used to describe yourself? Is it a recommendation system designed to pursue profit at the very cost of the dignity of the individual? Well, no. All those examples are not good technology because good technology does not take advantage of our human nature. From the previous example, we have forgotten to pause and critically ask ourselves if what we're building is helping or hindering us. There is no point in building something that will hinder us. We have forgotten to reflect on our habits and how we engage and use technology in our daily life. We forgot to align the purpose of our system with the values of we hold as humans. We forgot about ethics and consequently AI ethics. Now, there are some positive things. We have seen the development of ethical principles and guidelines. We have the framework. There is increased awareness and discussion, regulation, development of new AI technologies. This course is even an AI ethics breakthrough. There have been many AI ethics courses in different countries. There have been AI ethicists, even masters. There's one in Canada. There are many courses. There are many diplomats of AI ethics. So that is good. That is great. But AI breakthrough will always be faster than laws and regulation. What do I mean by this? Oh, for example, when deepfakes first arrived, we all know what deepfakes are. There was no law against them. So many persons used them, and no one could cancel them. No one could shut the server because there was no law. Now we already have laws on deepfakes. We already have some laws on other AI outcomes, but the period between when deepfakes first started and the laws that appeared, it was I think 3 to 4 years in different countries, even in South Korea, which I was last year to speak about the topic. They took many years to finally develop a law about them, and they had a major issue on deepfakes. But at least now we have laws. So it took us a while to understand how much harm AI could do to us. So laws needed to evolve. Let's analyze them a little. Let's see the law and ethics relationship. And once again, this is not a law course, but I like to have some concepts in order for us to have some common ground when we speak. For me, law is a system of rules that are enforced through social institutions to govern behavior. And likewise, ethical breaches may not necessarily be criminal breaches, and that may not lead to criminal punishment. For example, something legal but not ethical. An employee calls in sick to work when she is not really sick. Well, that is legal. I mean, she is not going to go to jail. But is that ethical? No, that is not ethical. Something, for example, ethical but not legal. To leak information in company's intranet to the media to stop an illegal activity that is occurring in a company. Is that illegal? Yes, because you are disclosing private information. That is not legal. But that is it. I'm not saying if that is right or wrong. I'll leave that to you. But is that ethical? Yes, that is ethical. Most things are ethical and legal, or not ethical and not legal, but as we have seen, sometimes it's not that simple. Sadly, there's also a growing divide between the perceptions of the population and the actions taken by companies. For example, there is a gap between the societal relevance of AI ethics and the actual company behavior. 59% of companies invest in ethical AI. That's what EY said. But Capgemini mentioned that 66% of consumers expect AI to be bias-free. I think it's not feasible that AI will be bias-free. Yes, we can minimize bias a lot, but to completely eradicate it, personally, I don't think that can be done. But to minimize it to a very, very, very low percentage and mention that in our product, I think that is feasible. But let's see other news. For example, Elon Musk fired the Twitter, when it was Twitter, ethical AI team. Big tech companies cut AI ethics staff. Microsoft laid off team that taught employees how to make AI tools responsibly. So, if the big companies, if multinational companies do this, how are the smaller companies? Are they better? Are they worse? Well, I'll leave that to your thoughts. But I think, well, I don't know. Well, I don't know. But I won't talk why this particular company fired their ethical teams. But I will say that we need those teams more than ever. Experts doubt ethical AI design will be broadly adopted as a norm within the next decade. And I think this is because some companies or some business or some CEOs think that AI ethics will hinder innovation, ethics will stop us from achieving the best profit, the most profit we can. And I think that is not true. There was one IBM Global AI Adoption Index. They mentioned, for example, 74% of AI tools were not reducing unintended bias. 61% of the companies was not sure they could explain AI-powered decisions. And for me, this is a major issue. For example, think of it like this. If you ask your friend something, and you ask your friend, for example, can you give me an advice? What would you buy, this or this? Okay. And then your friend tells you the option he or she picked. So then you ask your friend, okay, thank you for that. How did you make that decision? I don't know. Are you going to trust that decision? Well, if he can't say why he made that decision, you will have doubts, obviously. For example, if AI, for example, if I use Google Maps, I want to go to one particular city and I know the road and it takes me to a very different place or through a road that is very, very far. And I want to ask, this is not right. It doesn't feel right. It's going to take me hours to get there. But maybe the AI had a glitch. It happens. It has happened. We all have seen the news. So will I follow AI just like that? Think of it if a CEO says, okay, this is our new decision. Okay, perfect. How did you get to this outcome? I have no idea. Well, are you going to trust that decision? I'm not going to say you follow or don't follow. Well, maybe the CEO says something, maybe you have to follow. I don't know, depending on the business. But will you trust that decision? 60% of companies are not developing ethical AI policies. And well, we all have other percentage here. I think this is a major issue we have here. Well, the good thing, if you want to call it that, is that if you reverse those percentage, 26% are reducing their unintended bias, 39% is making sure they could explain AI-powered decisions. 40% are developing ethical AI policies. So, is that good? Yes. Is that enough? Of course not. Of course not. That's why we need courses like this. That's why we need to show why this is important. And something that just appeared, I don't know when you will see this course, but today here it's, I'm in Australia. Today here it's 10th of August, and less than a week, just 5 days ago, there was a major talk because Productivity Commission in Australia says the government must post plan for mandatory guidelines on AI. They said, no, AI will hinder innovation. AI will stop us from our 116 billion economic potential. I don't, well, I don't know who made, oh, yeah, I know who made, but I don't know how they got this outcome. That I don't know yet. Okay, there will be a response in the coming weeks, and maybe when you see this course, the outcome has already been done. But I personally, I think AI AI ethics does not hinder innovation. It it allows you to it will help you to achieve the best possible outcome you can without having bias or minimizing risk, minimizing harm. Think about this for a moment. What if you want to talk in terms of business, in terms of money, what is better? Or what is cheaper, to prevent or to get fined? We have seen, for example, many companies, for example, let's just mention one, Amazon. Years ago, they were fined because in their HR AI tool, they use historical CVs. So they almost always hired a person from a particular gender, candidate from a particular country, candidate from a particular university or from. So is that bias? Yes, that is bias. Obviously, Amazon saw that issue and they scrapped that AI HR tool. But the damage was done. Yes, the damage was done. We have seen the same thing happen on different business. I won't name business, but you have seen the news. You have seen news in almost every country. There has been news about different AI tools, marginalizing, making decisions. I won't say taking advantage, but I will just say damaging particular societal groups or not even including them. So is that important? Of course it's important, because if we don't use AI tools, if we don't develop AI tools that will allow us to be the best version we can be, then when are we going to do that? Yes, AI potential in Australia could be $116 billion, which is a lot. Yes, that is a lot. But I think the risk of developing AI tools without proper tools, proper guidelines, proper frameworks would be much higher and disastrous than the benefits it would bring us. Think of it like this. For me, once again, I'm from a technological background, so it's easy for me to feel that way. But for me, AI is a tool. And when I think of a tool, I think the first thing that comes to my mind is a hammer. My grandfather was a carpenter, so when I was young, I spent many times in in eh, in his home, okay, and he used to teach me hammering nails, and to me, a hammer is a great tool to hammer nails, but it's a horrible tool for cooking, for example. I have never seen anyone cooking with a hammer because it's not like that. Same thing with AI. Why are we using AI? What do we want to achieve with AI? Okay, what are the potential consequences we have using this particular AI? All those questions need to be asked and all those questions need to be solved because that because we want our product to last how long? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? No, AI is here to stay forever. And there are some persons that say AI will pass. I don't think AI will pass. AI shouldn't just be a couple. AI is here to stay. Just like some persons say years ago, computers will pass in a few decades or in a few years. Everyone has a computer now. Everyone I see some person having three different computers with a cell phone, a smartwatch, and smart glasses. You have three computers on one particular person. So AI is here to say, yes, AI will be here. So how do we want AI to become? What do we expect AI to be in the next 6 months, year, 2 years? Now that we have mentioned this, let's talk about a little about unconscious bias. Uh, Once again, and this is my point of view, almost everything here is my point of view, just in case. We can't eradicate completely bias from an AI tool, but we can minimize it to a very low degree. Yes, we can do that. So, how do we do? If I said I have bias, yes, of course I am biased. I will always be biased to my family, for example. I prefer them than strangers because they are my family. But that's just one example. But okay, how do I mitigate or how do I reduce the unconscious bias? Well, that's why we have multicultural teams. We can talk about those bias, we can talk about the ideas, we can talk about different perspectives. There are many ways to do this. There are different tools to do this. If you want, I can. Well, that is not the context of this course, but I'm pretty sure you can see basically talk. What I like doing is what we call the friend talk. Talk to your use your moral imagination and ask your friend a particular thing. And if she or he would approve the idea, well, that is okay. Now, if in a multicultural team, everyone says, okay, this is what we want, we approve this idea, then, okay, let's go for it. For example, some years ago, there was an AI detection tool falsely accused international students of cheating. Why? Because, well, English is not their first language, so they had issues in their English, or they didn't know how to write correctly. So the AI tool said, oh, these are students cheating. And they were not cheating, they were just writing the best English they could in a language, obviously, that wasn't their own. So we have seen damage happening. Yes, those students had stress, those students had, well, many things happen, and Stanford was fine about this, uh, but students were harmed once again. This is what why I mentioned moments ago. Think in what you are doing, prevent the outcome rather than trying to solve them. It's cheaper. Now let's talk a little about generative AI. 30% of professionals have tried ChatGPT at work. 68% are using AI tools without informing their organization. I think this is very critical because yes, everyone are, yes, as I mentioned, AI is here to stay. I am aware that many persons are using AI tools. Now, is that the best tool they can use to achieve their their goal? Well, it's what they think. But if they don't know, or if no one has informed them of the bias, of the decision making, of if that particular tool has the best possible outcomes, if there's no ranking, because there's no ranking of AI tools in the ethical landscape, well, maybe they are using an AI tool to do their work, and they may be doing a wrong work that we have. For example, I did a moment, well, right now we are in ChatGPT 5. I use a different ChatGPT version to do this example. And that's my name, Jose Meza, J-O, that's my name. So I asked ChatGPT, the doctor yelled at the nurse because she was late. Who was late? I wanted to see if there was gender bias. So in this sentence, ChatGPT told me that the doctor was the male and the nurse was female. Okay, so I did exactly the same question, but I changed the gender. So I said, I typed, the doctor yelled at the nurse because he was late. Who was late? Well, ChatGPT said, typed that the doctor was a male and the nurse was female. So there was gender bias? Yes, there was. A doctor and a nurse eat at a restaurant. She paid because she's more senior. Once again, in this example, and you can read them here, you can visualize that there is gender bias in ChatGPT. Well, and in other generative AI tools, there is also gender bias. Is this critical? Yes, this is critical because many users are using this to get their papers, to get their assignments, to get their reports. So if we are using a tool that has gender bias, all our reports, all our papers, all our lectures, maybe will be done with gender bias too. Is that what we want? On LinkedIn, I saw Natalie Kiriakou showing one example of AI bias. She used an AI app, Lensa AI. It's a tool that you upload pictures of you and to generate an avatar. So she used it, and when she uploaded pictures of herself, the AI algorithm turned her into a fairy princess and top rider and other gender bias. But when her male colleagues asked the same question, they were turned into astronauts, scientists, and other professions. So, is this bias? Yes. As you can see, there is a lot of bias, or the bias is very, very high in these tools. Do these tools have ethical AI mindset? No, of course not. Is the harm done? Yes. Yes, there is a harm being done here, as you can see. Just ask or Google it. Lensa AI is still on the landscape, and well, I don't think they are. Some final. So, with all those traits that, all those facts that I mentioned a moment ago, what can be done? An independent audit of AI systems, AI algorithmic or autonomous system, mention unintended bias. So every time, for example, we buy a pill, a medicine pill, at a drugstore or pharmacy or chemist, it tells us the side effects of these pills are the following. Why can't we have the same thing for an AI tool, for example? Lawmakers should include AI practitioners to foresee different outcomes. There is even talk to create AI laws, or I think I don't think we need, for example, to have AI schools, AI education, AI laws, AI agronomy. No, but I think we should include AI in all those fields. Yes, just like computers nowadays are included in all those fields. AI need to be included too, and we need AI ethicists, AI practitioners. We need persons. We need people. We need professionals that can visualize. If we do it like, if we take this tool, if we choose this algorithm, if we show this path, these outcomes can damage a particular group or society. We also need to do AI impact assessment. Something that I like and I wanted to leave this final thought on this positive outcome is that the European Union AI Act already distinguish between different risk levels of AI developers, and companies in the European Union are legally required to conduct an AI impact assessment for AI solutions classified as high risk. And obviously, an acceptable risk is, well, those tools can't be allowed to be developed. Well, that was all. Hopefully, you have you are a little clearer regarding AI ethics, responsible AI, what is the difference, what is the similarity, and please feel free to contact me if you want. My name is Jose Meza. I'll gladly chat with you over Zoom, or if you're in a city with a cup of coffee. Thank you.